The idea of congressional term limits has been debated for decades as a way to prevent career politicians from holding office indefinitely and to promote fresh ideas, accountability, and reduced corruption in the legislative branch. Supporters argue that long-term incumbency leads to political stagnation and power consolidation, while opponents believe that experienced lawmakers provide stability and institutional knowledge. While presidents are limited to 2 terms, members of Congress can serve indefinitely, leading to a growing movement to change this system. The Founding Fathers debated term limits when drafting the U.S. Constitution in 1787. Some, like Thomas Jefferson, favored rotation in office to prevent the rise of a political elite. However, the final Constitution didn't include term limits because elections were seen as the natural check on power. If voters disapproved, they could vote officials out. For much of U.S. history, Congress was a part-time institution, and many members only served a few terms before returning to private life. But as government grew more complex, career politicians became the norm. Incumbents now enjoy major advantages like name recognition, fundraising prowess, and influence over redistricting. The push for term limits gained steam in the 1990s when several states passed ballot measures to cap congressional service. But in 1995, the Supreme Court ruled in U.S. Term Limits v. Thornton that states couldn't impose term limits on federal lawmakers. Only a constitutional amendment could do that. Since then, various term limit bills have been introduced in Congress, but none have cleared the 2/3 vote needed in both chambers. Common proposals suggest House, maximum of 6 terms, 12 years. Senate, maximum of 2 terms, 12 years. Supporters say term limits would 1. Prevent political stagnation by removing out-of-touch lawmakers. 2. Reduce corruption and lobbyist influence. 3. Inject new ideas and diverse perspectives. 4. Restore the citizen legislature ideal. Opponents argue that term limits, 1. Strip away valuable institutional knowledge. 2. Increase the influence of unelected staff and lobbyists. 3. Are unnecessary because elections already serve as term limits. 4. Weaken Congress's ability to counter the executive branch. Despite opposition in Congress, public opinion is heavily in favor. 75-80% of Americans, across party lines, support congressional term limits. To bypass Congress, some advocates have called for an Article 5 constitutional convention where states could propose amendments directly. Though rare and controversial, this method is gaining support in some reform circles. The debate over congressional term limits remains a hot topic in U.S. politics, fueled by growing dissatisfaction with gridlock, entrenched power, and a desire to shake up the system. Whether it ever becomes law remains to be seen.